Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Budgeting Strategies for Success webinar. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Natalie Nahas. I'm the Senior Business Development Officer here at the Los Angeles Police Federal Credit Union. And tonight we will provide you guys with some information on how to master your finances by creating a budget. You'll also learn how to identify both short-term and long-term goals and craft practical savings plan to meet those goals. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that this session is a live webinar and a recording will be sent shortly after. You will be in listen-only mode, but our presenters will have the ability to answer those questions that you may have at the end of the presentation. But we encourage you guys to ask those questions along the way throughout the presentation in the chat box, in the question box, sorry, and then we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. So now what I'd like to do is turn it over and introduce Colleen Garrity from Balance. Balance is LAPFCU's financial partner in our education to our membership. So take it away, Colleen.
Well, thank you very much, Natalie, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. This is one of my favorite topics is budgeting strategies. So I like to kind of hear how you're feeling about budgeting. So I'm going to start this off with a poll, if I may. So if you could go ahead and answer my poll, I really would greatly appreciate it. So I want to kind of find out where you are, right? What do you think about budgeting? So if you could go ahead and answer the poll on what you think about budgeting. Oh, thank you. Guys are answering so quickly. I so appreciate it. Look at that. We're way up there on. Thank you. Okay. Appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll in 3, 2, 1, and share with everybody. So in sharing, it looks like we're kind of over the board. I'm really happy to see that none of you said you think it's a waste of time. That's probably why you're here, because you know it's not a waste of time. Some of you have no idea where to start. I am going to get you guys started so you are going to know exactly what to do. And those of you that budget sometimes, which is another high number, again, we're going to help you to get things on track for yourself. I love you 15%. I budget all the time. I know I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to make that budget even better for yourselves. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Now, as Natalie said, my name is Colleen Garrity. I am with Balance. Balance is a nonprofit organization that partners with, like LAPFCU, to bring you financial health. And that is such an important step for everyone, especially this wonderful new year that we're in. And so let's get started and learn a little bit about budgeting strategies. First of all, reaching your goals and achieving financial independence, right? That's such an important thing to do. Now, a lot of people, when you talk about making a plan, right? When you're making a plan, what is the main thing you kind of think about? Okay, if I'm going on vacation, what are you doing? You're making a plan about where you're going to go, what you're going to do, where you're going to stay. Even if you're camping, what campground are you going to, right? So you make a plan. And that is what makes your vacation successful, is by making that plan. So definitely want to think about budgeting as making that great plan that's going to help you be financially independent and financially healthy, which is the most important thing. So a good budget will help you use your money effectively. It's going to help you reach your goals and achieve financial independence without having to sacrifice life's pleasures. Like most people think that's what it is. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to turn my camera off so that you can see the screens better. And I will be back, as will Natalie, at the end of the presentation. Okay. So let's talk about the obstacles. Now, these are the main things that kind of stop you from achieving any goal, is obstacles. Now, all of us are so good at procrastinating on some things, right? It's so easy to procrastinate. When you're thinking about it, right, you're like, okay, if I get this budget started now, I'll I'll start it next week because there's a lot of things that I want to buy, right? I want to spend money on. It's the holiday season. Why start my budget now? Or, St. Patrick's Day is coming. I don't want to budget until after St. Patrick's Day, right? So you get some of these obstacles or these procrastinations of waiting for things, right? You might get discouraged about certain things, right? And that's one of the things that you want to kind of think about, right? You're like, okay, it's going to take me a long time to get this budget in place. And yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It takes time to start a budget. But that's what I'm saying. Start a budget. Once you get a budget really in place and set, it only takes about 30 minutes to 1 hour once a month to keep it going. I do mine the last Friday of every single month for the next month. And it's just a little fine tuning that you may have to do. Maybe you get a raise or you change jobs and got more pay, or something happened and maybe your pay and your money went down. That's only really the time that you're going to have to really kind of adjust it a little bit more. You don't want to say, I should have, I could have, I would have if, right? But a lot of times people procrastinate because they associate it with budgeting, right? That word B, that really big B word, right? Budgeting. Oh man, I'm going to lose everything, right? Instead, focus it on a savings and spending plan. I always believe in saying positive words, right? Being positive to me is such a good thing because things can happen when you're in a positive mode. And saying spending and savings plan sounds so much more positive to me. Now, some people think, you know what, I don't have enough money, right? I really don't have enough money, so why should I budget, right? Yeah. Well, the one thing about if you don't have enough money, by creating an actual savings and spending and savings plan, you're actually going to find that you have more money than you thought you had. Some people say, I got a fear of giving up things, right? I have to give up things in order to make everything work because I'd rather live off my credit cards. Well, you really don't have to give up things. Yes, you will have to discipline and sacrifice a few things, and it's sometimes scary, but I'm telling you, the reward is so much greater, and I promise you, you're not going to miss the things that you give up. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on ways you can tweak things to actually create more money. Now, you might think you may not have fun anymore, and that's really not true. It does help you control your money instead of your money controlling you, which is always a great thing, right? So the first thing you want to kind of think about is your goals. Now, there is a handout that you can download that is attached to the little markers up there. You'll see a little thing that says a download or a handout. Definitely take time to download that handout. It's going to give you a whole bunch of great information, but one of the things it's going to do is it's going to give you a goal chart that you're going to be able to utilize to really help with your goals. Now, goals are the most important thing you want to do with your savings and spending plan or your budget. As it tells you, it's going to tell you where you want to go, where you're going, right? Things that you need, right? Things that you want to do with your life. But any goal, I don't care where you're at, whether it be financial or not financial, needs to be a SMART goal. Now, us in the financial industry, we love acronyms, okay? And SMART is a really great acronym to me, right? It's a SMART goal. Any goal should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. If I say, I want to be a millionaire, well, that's nice, but that's just a wish, okay? But if I say, I want to be a millionaire by the time I am 55 years old, now it becomes a goal. So any goal that is SMART has a much better chance of succeeding. So when you're looking at the different, what SMART means, specific means, does the goal state exactly what you want to achieve? I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 55 years old. It says what I want to achieve, right? Is it measurable? Does the goal have a benchmark that can be achieved? Meaning, by the time I'm 55, every year I'm going to go see my financial advisor and make sure that I'm on track to getting that $1 million, right? So, yeah, it's measurable. Is it achievable? Is this goal possible to accomplish? Well, if I was 54 and a half years old, then maybe not 55, right? Then that may not be something that's achievable. So it has to be something that's achievable. If you say, I want to buy a house in 3 weeks, well, if you haven't saved up for a down payment and haven't done anything to prepare for it, that's really not something achievable. You want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure. Is it realistic? Can the goal be achieved in the given time and resources that you have? So this is a time that you're going to look at your finances. You're going to look and see, can I actually do this? Is this something that I can actually achieve? Yes, it can be realistic. And is it time bound? What is the timeline for the goal to be accomplished? My case, I had said 55, by the age 55. So give you another example. If I say I want a new computer, okay, that's a wish. But if I say I will purchase a new computer in 9 months and I'm going to need $1,200, now it becomes a SMART goal. So let me show you what I mean. I will be purchasing a new computer in 9 months and I will save $1,200. That is specific. Is it measurable? I can track my savings and plan to track every 2 to 3 months just to make sure that I'm on track. So yes, it is measurable. Is it attainable? In calculating, I would need to save $134 per month, and this is something I can budget for. So it is attainable. Is it realistic? Is it something I really need? And it is something I really need, and I have the means to save for the computer. And is it time bound? Yep, it's time bound. I know when I want to achieve it, 9 months from now. So I have now made this a SMART goal, and now I can see it, I can believe it, and I know that I will achieve it. So by a raise of hands, do any of you have any goals in mind for things that maybe you want to do? Okay, so we do have a few of you in there that know about some goals that you have. Okay, thank you very much. So these are some other goals, or this is actually your financial goal chart, which is in the booklet or the handout that I gave you. So in the handout, you're going to see short-term goals. Now, a short-term goal is something you can achieve in basically under a year, okay? So this is something like that computer I was going to buy, a new smartphone, maybe creating a savings account, or buying a new car. These are really great goals that you can have. Now, midterm goals are something you can achieve within 1 to 5 years. You know, things like maybe taking a trip to Europe, which is one of my goals, buying a house, maybe eliminating your debt. And the long-term goals are achieved in more than 5 years. You know, things like retirement, which if you are 20 years old, I don't care if you're only 20, start your retirement now, okay? Definitely retirement, saving for your child's education. These are things that are considered more than 5 years that you're going to achieve. And some people, more than 5 years is buying their first home, okay? So whatever it happens to be. And you can see, as there's a lot of lines here, you can have more than one goal at a time. But what I always suggest is that when you think of some of your financial goals, of things that you want to achieve, write them down, but then write them in number order. You know, write a 1 next to the most important goal and a 10 next to the least important goal. So you know what things you really want to focus on. Because when you start getting to your long-term goals, that's so far away. You're not going to really think about them so much. That's not as important. But maybe it's something that is the most important to you. Maybe having a nice, comfortable retirement is the most important thing to you. And maybe that new computer isn't as important. So you want to kind of put them in number order for yourself. Now, when you're filling out the chart, you'll do something like this. So my computer is a short-term goal. I'm going to get it in 9 months. I need $1,200 for it. I have nothing saved up yet, okay? So then that means I still need $1,200. I'm going to take that $1,200 and I'm going to look at how many pay periods before I actually reach that goal and put that in there. In this case, 18. So the 18 goes into the 1,200, gives me $67. All I need to save every single month, every single pay period is $67. Or I could just save $134 a month. This way I know where I'm at. And if I put that into my budget, say, oh yeah, it's something that I can do. It's attainable. It's something that I can actually do. Another goal might be a car, right? I'm going to get that in 19 months from now. I need $6,000 for my down payment. I currently have $1,000. So if I have $5,000, again, $5,000 going into 38 months, or 38 pay periods, excuse me, is $132 per pay period. That's something that I can do. And, or I can put just $264 per month into a savings account towards that down payment. So again, something that I can plug into my budget. So that's a way of looking at it. Now, when you're looking at the months, you want to kind of think of how do I get paid, right? If you get paid twice a month, the math is very simple. 9 months times 2 is 18. But if you get paid monthly, it's just 9, right? But some of us, many of us, get paid biweekly. So if you get paid biweekly, we do get 2 extra paychecks a year. Yay! So you want to see if that extra paycheck falls into what you're actually doing or trying to achieve your goal. It's easy when it's like, 2 years from now, there's going to be 4 extra paychecks, so it makes it easy. But you kind of look to see if you get those extra paychecks in there. So you can kind of calculate it with maybe 19. It's going to take me I'll get 19 paychecks in that period of time. So it's 1,200 divided by 19. Okay? So once you do have your goals in place, here's a few others. These are some really good goals that you should use. Okay? Short-term goals. Like emergency savings account, a big one. We're going to talk more about that. So you need $1,800. That's only $150 a month. Maybe maybe repaying your debt. Maybe you've got a lot of debt. Yeah, we want to get that down. We definitely want to get rid of our debt, okay? So maybe an extra $200 above the monthly payment, and in 3 years, you'll be out of debt. Funding your retirement, there's that $1 million. Yay, right? So all you have to save up for is $350 into a retirement vehicle. Now, when it comes to retirement, there is no guarantee because it isn't a retirement vehicle. So you do need to speak to a financial advisor in order to determine what's the best options for you. Just remember, market goes up and down, so you could have more or less than that $1 million depending on what happens with the market. But the financial advisor can give you an actual number of what will be the best option or the best chance for you to reach that goal that you're looking for. Now, I talked to you about it. One of the goals would be an emergency savings account. So I got another question for you. Let's see here. When it comes to savings, let's see what you guys feel about savings. Oh, you guys are answering so quickly. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, you guys are on top of this. Thank you. We are almost at 90%. I so appreciate you. Okay, I'm going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1, and share with you. Okay, so I love that 49% of you put money in a savings account on a monthly basis. And I hope that if you put the money in that you're not just taking it right back out again. That's wonderful. 20% of you, sometimes I love that too. Some of you say, I don't have enough to save. Well, with a budget you will, trust me. And I love that 11% of you. I put money in more than one savings account each month. I'm going to talk about that, and I love that. That is wonderful. And thank you so much for sharing that with me. So I'm going to talk to you about the importance of savings, and 49% of you, you know the importance as well as 20, and I'm sure all of you know, right? So definitely want to talk to you about that. But I do have one more poll for you, and that is, do you have an emergency savings account? Those of you that said you had savings, and those of you that didn't, you can answer no on that. Let's see where you're at there. Okay, you guys are answering really fast this time. Okay, I guess I can close this poll pretty quickly here. I'm going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1, and share. And I love that 56% of you said yes. This is, and I will tell you, and 44% of you said no, but 56 said yes. And I'm going to tell you guys, those of you that do not have an emergency savings account, it's time to get started. This is a great goal that you need to establish, which is the emergency savings account. Why? Because it will help you to not have those hiccups when something unexpected happens. Okay? I will tell you, I had literally, my water heater went out in my house. The very, very next day, my kitchen sink sprung a leak. You know how expensive that can be? And luckily, I had an emergency savings account. So I was able to pay for those 2 items to get those things fixed so my house wasn't underwater, okay? So that was a good thing. So things happen in life, and emergencies happen. You know, you could lose your job. 2020 could happen again. God forbid it does, right? But things happen in life, okay? And having that emergency savings account is going to help you not go into debt. It's going to help you to be able to be in control of your money versus your money being in control of you. Now, I always say, with an emergency savings account, which you only use for emergencies, which is not like things to go to a concert or go on a vacation or things of that nature, it's for things that happen that are an emergency that you have to take care of immediately. But always put that money into a money market account, or a basic savings is good too, but something that you have easy access to if an emergency happens, and that you will not get penalized if you pull money out. Now, a money market at LAPFCU is a great choice for you. So definitely utilizing a basic savings or a money market account are the avenues to take. My money is in a money market because I can write checks on it. So definitely a way to go. Now, the other thing is that if you do have an emergency savings account and you do borrow from it, and I said the word borrow, right? You're borrowing from yourself. Set up in your budget or your spending and savings plan a monthly payment to pay it back. It's 0% interest, unlike your credit cards would be, right? And you can then pay yourself back and build that emergency savings account up again. Now, you should have 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses. Now, essential living expenses are things you need to live on, okay? Things like the roof over your head, the food for your belly, not fast food or restaurants, okay? Your electricity, your water, probably your car because you need to get to and from work or school, okay? So things that you need to live on. It's not things like getting your nails done or your hair cut, things like that. It's things that essential living expenses. So essentials will help you to be able to survive, okay? So 3 to 6 months is what they suggest. And definitely start with baby steps and build it up to 3 months. And then slowly get it up to 6 months. Because believe me, it's not going to happen overnight, okay? Next thing you want to kind of think about is your savings, okay? Those of you that said that you weren't saving, start now. Just put $5 in a savings account. If you put $5 a month into a savings account and slowly build it up to 10, then 15, then 20, you're going to find that it's a habit and you're not going to miss that money. Because if the money is in your wallet or your checking account, you've got that urge to spend it. And, you know, instead of saving it. Okay, so if you begin saving now and depositing money into a savings account before or at the same time you're paying your bills, you are going to defeat the urge to postpone the very most important thing in the world, which is you, okay? And my thought is, by the way, that you should have 4 savings accounts. Those of you that said you had multiple ones, congratulations to that. Now, why do I say 4? Well, 4 savings account is your emergency savings account, right, which money market or a basic savings account. Your retirement account, which you can get, of course, at your place of employment, a 401k, 403b, whatever retirement plan they may have, or, of course, speak to someone at LAPFCU about maybe an IRA account. That's another retirement vehicle that you can utilize, whether it be a Roth IRA or a basic IRA. Definitely talk to them about that. So look into having that retirement account. That is such an important aspect for your future. Trust me on that. Many people today that didn't plan for their retirement, they're now struggling. And when they do retire, it's going to be a lot harder for them. They can't enjoy life as much as they would like to have, okay? Now, also the next one, the next savings account is your goal savings account. You've calculated how much you need to save. You can put it into that goal savings account. That way you're not like pulling the money out for other things like an emergency and whatnot. You've got it separated. And having things separated makes things so much easier for you to be on track of things. And the last one, your basic savings account, is also your periodic savings account. Periodic, I say? Aha, what's periodic, right? Every year you pay your registration on your car, but only once a year. And when that year comes up, and this is one of the obstacles people come across, is something like the holidays come up. And you're not prepared for that, okay? And so you're sitting there going, okay, now what's next, right? What am I going to do? I have to now plan for $300 for my savings, right? So you want to kind of think about it as when you have your savings for that periodic stuff, you put it in a separate account and build it up. And so you've got your periodic savings account. Now, a really big question is, and many people say, they ask this wonderful question: should I pay off my debt before I start savings? What should I do? Okay, so by a raise of hands, who thinks you should get rid of that debt first and then start saving? Yay, nobody's hands went up. Okay, we got a few hands going up. Yeah, that's the majority of what a lot of people think. Get rid of the debt first and then start thinking about savings and other things. No, you should actually do both at the same time. Because waiting to save money until after you've paid off all of your bills and your debt will almost guarantee that you will never, ever put anything aside. You want to create a goal on how to pay off your debt, which is very important, okay? But then the next thing you want to do is always make sure you're putting something towards your savings, whether it be your retirement or something. Definitely you want to put 10% of your income and build up to it. Put 1%, then 2%, and get up to that 10% of your income into all those 4 different avenues for your savings in order to save for the good things in life, right? So here's a way of kind of thinking about a debt, right? You've got $2,000 balance. Many of us have more than that, right? I remember I had $10,000, and then I suddenly had a few credit cards, and I was like $30,000 in debt at one time in my life and thought I'd never get out of it. But then I made a strategy. I figured it out. Now, that's another webinar, but let's talk about a little bit here. So if you have a $2,000 balance at 19.8% and you're only making the minimum payment, right, it's going to take you 14.5 years to actually pay that $2,000 off. And it's going to cost you over $2,848 in interest. That's basically $4,000, over $4,000 total. The $2,000 for the actual debt plus $2,848. That's a lot. But if you put extra money in your budget towards it, like making a $100 payment, It's going to take you only 24 months to pay it off and only $437 in interest. A much better avenue to take. So I always tell people, no matter what, you want to always not pay the minimum. Never pay the minimum on credit cards especially. Never pay that minimum. You want to pay the minimum they're asking you for, plus you want to look at what the interest amount is and pay that as well. So the minimum plus whatever the interest charge was. So if they charge you $56 in interest and they're asking you for only $40, then you're paying at least $96 to them. It's the only way you're going to get out of debt, because even if you're not charging on this credit card anymore, it's still going to take you 14.5 years to repay that debt. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts of things. Let's get into your beautiful budget, okay? So let's talk about budgeting now. So when it comes to creating a budget, the one thing that you want to do is you definitely want to figure out how I'm going to track it. Where's my money going? Always know, where is my money going, right? So you want to track all of your expenses, everything you spend. Write it down, keep receipts, use your debit or credit cards to kind of figure it out. Always do it for a month. This is where the most time takes. Spend like you want. Go ahead and spend your money the way you spend your money, but track it. On page 7 of the handout, there is a tracking sheet, so you can actually track where your money's going. Make a few copies of it because it's a weekly tracker, so make 4 copies of it so you can really see, where does my money go? Okay, so track it. If you go to the ATM machine, I know me. I spent $20. I get $20 out of the ATM machine. Get home, have no idea where I spent it. Right? That was the old me. Right? Many people do that. They'll pull out money and say, "Wait a minute, where did my money go?" So even if you're putting $1 in a vending machine, write it down. Keep your receipts and track everything you spend for 1 month. Okay. So definitely want to do that first. That's the first step, is tracking everything. Next thing you want to do is determine, where am I going to construct my budget, right? There is some budgeting sheets in your handout, so you can use it in paper form, right? Right? You can definitely do it that way. But a budget is such an important avenue to kind of think, where do I want to actually track my budget? Okay, so I do have another poll question for you, and that is the golden rule of budgeting. So what do you think the golden rule of budgeting is? Thank you for answering so quickly. Okay. You guys are so good. Thank you. I am going to go ahead and close the poll in 3, 2, 1. And share. Okay, thank you very much. So discretionary items are the most important. No, discretionary items are things that you really don't need to live on, okay? Those are things like getting your nails done and stuff like that. But really good try, because believe me, I would much rather have my discretionary items any day, right? I want to get my nails done. Your essential items are the most important. Yeah, they're very important, but they're not the most important, because you have to have some fun in your life, so you have to have some discretionary, right? But essential is very important. Good job, 28%. I'm really glad to see nobody said you should never use your credit cards, because you really want to keep your credit score up. The 69% of you, your expenses should never be more than your income. You are absolutely correct. So thank you very much. So yes, you should always kind of think of your budget on, my expenses should never be more than my income. That is the golden rule, okay? Now, always kind of look at what you're building as, I'm going to look at my income, then I'm going to look at my expenses, and make sure that income is more than my expenses or equal to my expenses, okay? So that's where you're going to look. But one of the things I do want to mention is, yeah, we can go online and find a budget, right? Definitely can do that. But if you are using a website to input your financial information, I am such a stickler on identity theft. I want you to be safe if you're using that. You want to make sure it is a secure platform that you are using, okay? Even if they say, oh, we are secure, I want you to look at the URL on the app or the platform that you're utilizing and make sure that it says HTTPS. Okay, any site you're putting any financial stuff into, this is my tip to you, always look for the HTTPS. If there's no S on it, it's not secure. Okay, so make sure that S is there. And just, this is an example at LAPFCU. They are secure, as you can see, right, as is Balance. And also, just to let you know, LAPFCU does have some great money management programs that are available for you. So definitely talk to them so that they can direct you to that particular site. So when you're constructing your budget, you can utilize their site. So we talked about income first, right? So we're going to do our income first. So to start your budget, you need to know, what is my income? Many of you should know what your income is, obviously. So if you know what your income is, yeah, raise your hand if you know how much money you make. Okay, I'm hoping everybody knows how much money comes in, right? Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Yep, thank you. Well, it's good to know how much income you make, because when you're looking at your income and figuring out your income, a lot of times we just get a base salary. We know what we're making, but always look at the net income, not the gross income, the net income. The net income is after taxes, after everything comes in, okay? So you want to look at the net income, and that's the amount you want to put in, is your net. Now, some of us get paid differently. Maybe we work hourly, right? So now I want to kind of figure out, I get different amounts every single paycheck, so I'm not really sure. Or maybe you make tips or bonuses, right? And you're really not sure how much you make every single month because it could be fluctuating. So in those cases, you want to estimate, but never overestimate. You want to kind of underestimate because you'd rather not run out of money. So you want to say, how much do I averagely make? So here's an example. So let's just say you make tips. So you want to kind of look at the week. So in 1 week in this month, I'm kind of calculating, I make $1,400 in a week, right? So this is kind of what I'm making for the money, is $1,400. This is what I'm making. Now you want to kind of divide that, and for some reason that didn't work, but take the $1,400, and I apologize for this. So you want to go ahead and take that and divide it by 4. That's what you want to do. And then times it by the months that you have. So you want to times it by 4. So if you take $1,400 and you divide it by 4 months, you are averaging $350. So you're averaging $350 a week is what you want to kind of do. And then you would times that by 52 weeks in a year. So that would be $1,800, $18,200, and then divide that by 12. Because a lot of times we get more than one paycheck. And then if you divide that by 12, you're now having about $1,517 is what you want to kind of calculate. So sometimes you'll get more, sometimes you'll get less, because there's not just 28 days in a month, in a week. Next, you want to kind of look at the next step. Hang on a moment. And the next step is seasonal jobs. So I have a friend who only works 10 months a year. She's a teacher. And she works 10 months a year and only gets paid for 10 months a year. And some of you may be that way. So if you get a seasonal job and you only work 10 months per year, for instance, and you make $5,400 per month net, okay? And that's after taxes, right? So $5,400 times the 10 months is $54,000 a year is what she makes, or brings home. And if you divide that by 12 months, that's $4,500 per month she wants to live on. So in her budget, she's going to put $4,500 versus the $5,400, because otherwise those 2 months she has no money coming in. So this is one way of kind of calculating your income. And the same thing with bonuses. If you get bonuses like 4 times a year, and maybe you get a set dollar amount in those bonuses, if you want to utilize those in your budget, you can definitely do that by, and I always tell people, if I'm going to get, $500 for a bonus, and I get that 4 times a year, so every 3 months I'm going to be getting a bonus. So if I divide that by 3 months, I can put $167 in my budget and still have extra money throughout. And that's actually what I do. So definitely want to be conservative. Once you know your income, you want to kind of look at your expenses. Now, when it comes to your expenses, you want to have 2 columns. You want to have, this is what I'm spending now, this is what I'm spending, what I would like to spend. So this is how I want to kind of balance my budget. What I'm currently spending, my income is actually less than what I'm making. So I have to cut some things out. So I'm going to look at those things, okay? So you want to kind of look at, what am I spending, okay? So in the current, all of your fixed and variable periodic expenses would go in there. So this is where periodic comes into play. So if you have periodic expenses, like your registration, as we talked about before. So my registration is $230 a year. I divide that by 12 months. So I'm putting into my periodic savings account $20 every month. When my registration becomes due, my budget's not killed, because I have that $230 that I can pay my registration without a problem. So you have other things that might be, periodically throughout the year. Insurance is a big one. $540 every 6 months. By a raise of hands, how many of you pay your registration or pay your insurance to your insurance company monthly instead of every 6 months? You give them something every month. Okay, a few of you are raising your hand. All right. Okay. One of the things that I would suggest is start thinking about not doing that. Start thinking about saving enough money to where you're going to be able to give it to them every 6 months. Why? Reason being is because they are asking for a fee in that every monthly thing that you're doing. So every month as you're paying them, you're actually paying more for your insurance. Okay? If you pay the full amount, pay it off every time that it becomes renewed, you're going to end up actually saving yourself money that can go into your budget. One of the places you can cut money at. Okay? So you want to kind of look at that. So in this case, insurance, $90 a month is what I'm putting in. When my insurance is due, I can pay the full thing off like several of you are doing. The holidays. Figure out how much you want to spend for the holidays. Put that aside. $150 per month. When the holidays come, I'm not living off my credit cards. I may use my credit cards, but if I'm using it, I'm going to be paying them off. So this is one way of really kind of figuring out where you can actually, save money by actually utilizing it that way. You want to also look at your essential versus discretionary, right? Make sure that you have those separated. Essential things are things you need to live on. Discretionary things are things you don't need. Okay, so you want to kind of look at that as well. Now, what are you going to do if your income is less than what your expenses are? Well, you're going to need to decrease. You're going to need to start looking at what you can postpone, what you can do, okay? So one of the things that you can do is kind of look at where you can cut money. One of the ways that you can cut money is things like, I mentioned nails before, the nail salon. If you go to a nail salon or do anything on a monthly basis, see, like a haircut, see if you could stretch it out a little bit longer. That way you're spending less overall. So if I'm getting my nails done once a month, and I stretch it out and do it every other month, instead of paying 12 months worth of those nails, I'm only paying 6 months worth of those nails and putting more money back into my budget. And then I'm also budgeting for that in my budget too. So I'm basically putting half of whatever the cost is one month, the other half the next month, and paying for them to get my nails done. So that way it actually makes it so much easier. Another way that you can actually decrease your spending is by things like your streaming stations on your cable, right? I cut the cord. I was so happy when I cut the cord, let me tell you, for my cable. I'm all internet. It's so great, right? I got a smart TV. But then I got all the streaming stations I could find and realized I was paying more for all those streaming stations than I was when I had cable. So look at all the streaming stations you have and see which ones are not so important. I have one streaming station that I utilize only once a year for 3 months. It's a show that I watch, and so I only need it for 3 months a year. So I cancel it throughout the year, put it in my periodic savings account that I know I'm going to be spending the money for that for 3 months. Then when the time comes for my favorite show to come back, I watch it for 3 months, and then I cancel it again. So I only watch it when that show is on. So definitely look at that. And also you want to look at your garbage cans, right? A lot of people have the big whopping garbage can. Go down to the teeny weeny garbage can and you will find yourself saving money. By a raise of hand, who goes to a coffee house, gets themselves a latte at least once a week, if not more? Or maybe some tea. Who stops over there at that coffee house? Okay, several of you. You're not alone. So 37% of Americans go to the coffee house on average 7 days per week. That's 7 days a week, okay? This is where you can cut. 5 days, so 5 times 7 days per week is $35. Figure out other things that you may do on a regular basis that maybe you can cut. That's $1,820 per year. If you cut it down to maybe going only twice a week and maybe bringing your own coffee or stopping in at one of those convenience stores where it's only like $1.98 for coffee, okay? You can actually cut your expenses that way. Raise a hands. Who goes out for fast food at least 3 times a week? Thank you, a lot of you. Okay, so you're not alone either. 41.6% of people of America go to fast food on average 5 times a week. Look at this. $10 just for yourself, right? That's $50 a week. That's $216.67 per month. And that's $2,604 a year on fast food. I could pay off my debt, right? So instead of going to fast food every single 5 times a week, or if you go twice a week, go once a week. Cut it down. I know somebody who went to a restaurant every single day. They were spending $30 every single day on going to this restaurant that they love. $30 a day. You know, I got them cut down to only going twice a week. So definitely want to kind of look at that. Okay? So you want to also look at your debt. So you've got positive debt and negative debt. Okay, positive debt is something where the value goes up, like college education or owning a home, okay? Negative debt is things that do not appreciate, which is your credit cards. That's why with your budget, once you have it in place, use your credit cards but pay them off. Make it a habit that if I use it, I'm going to pay it off that month. Okay? A good budget will not need to live off your credit cards. Okay? And also, if you have a credit card somewhere else, talk to LAPFCU. They have great credit cards available. Maybe a lower rate, right? So also, when you go out and you see something, this is one thing my mama told me too. I always ask myself, do I need it? Do I need it now? What would happen if I didn't have it, right? Stores are so notorious for putting things that we really don't need right there in front of us. Buy one, get one free, right? So you want to be careful with that. My mama did tell me, if I go into a store and I haven't written down what I want, I always write down what I'm going there for. And always do that. It really helps you to not overspend. I write down what I need. I write down how much I want to spend on that item. Then I go. If I see something that, oh, those beautiful red shoes, I really want those red shoes, right? She told me, walk away. If you leave the store and then you end up going back the next day to get those shoes, it was meant to be. Same thing with the internet. Don't save it in a cart for later, okay? Go ahead and turn it off, walk away from it. And if you really needed it, you'll go back. Ask yourself these questions before you buy anything. So I do want you to keep yourself motivated. Reward yourself along the way. Definitely recognize that goals won't be achieved overnight. You know, changing a habit takes work. It's time. It takes time. So sticking to your budget or your savings and spending plan, you want to celebrate the milestones that you achieve along the way. Enjoy yourself by watching your dollars grow and marvel at your savings each month. You know, it's an achievement. But also remember, expect setbacks. Everyone's going to have a setback. If you do experience a setback, take inventory and come up with another plan and keep moving forward, right? We all may have those hiccups, just like if you're going on a diet, right? I ate that cookie. Oh, no, right? Get back on the horse again, okay? Always keep going forward because the most important person is you. Okay? And your financial health is so important. And one of the other things I want you to do is really kind of think of yourself as calendars. I believe in calendars like crazy. In your phone or on an actual physical calendar, write down the date that you want to achieve things so you can check in with yourself. You know, check in. I want to have $1,000 in my savings account by this date and work that way towards it. Write those achievements down. Write down, I'm going to start my budget on a calendar. Let it beep at you on your phone. Really have yourself the time to really get yourself going. And always have patience with yourself. Again, success does not happen overnight, but it does happen over time. So I'm going to bring Natalie back now. Natalie, are you there?
I am back. All right, thank you, Colleen. Great
Thank
presentation,
you.
great information for our members. You know, here at LAPFCU, we are committed to helping our members reach financial freedom. And one of the ways, you know, that we do so is like looking at debt consolidation. So early on in the slides, Colleen did mention the credit card example. If you have a credit card or multiple credit cards or other kind of loans out there, and let's say, you know, you're making your monthly payment on these commitments and they have high balances and high interest rates connected to them. And it feels like it's going to take an eternity to possibly pay them off. Just like in that example she shared, 14.5 years on paying $2,000. That's crazy. So you may want to consider something like a consolidation loan. And the purpose, basically, it's a personal loan to pay off that debt. And we roll in the obligations, those financial obligations, into one monthly payment. That way it helps you get a handle on those finances and you manage your money by making only one monthly payment on a fixed term loan versus making multiple payments each month on various credit cards and various loans out there that may take up to 14.5 years, like she shared in that example. A lot of the times I help people in the field, our members, with this type of option, and a lot of the times it does free up some money because they're only making one monthly payment at the end of the month versus 3 or 4 different monthly payments. I will mention also right now at LAPFCU, we have a current promotion that's going to pay you $200 when you refinance any outside debt to us to the capacity of personal loans, credit cards, RVs, motorcycles, and vehicles from other institutions. So just keep that in mind. Earlier on as well, Colleen did mention other budgeting method tools, and I will highlight one that we have at LAPFCU. It's called Money Management, and it brings together all your financial information, even from other institutions, right at your fingertips in one place. It gives you the option to track your spending. You can have options to save, and really it helps you set and manage goals and so much more. And the really neat thing about it is that you can access it via Patrol Online Banking or via mobile banking for ease of convenience. Another resource, obviously a lot of great information shared earlier by Colleen from Balance, but they are LAPFCU's free credit counseling partner, And they provide a lot of resources in various ways, such as a variety of classes that you can actually take on various financial topics. Or if you want to speak to a live person, you can by doing so by talking to a counselor that can assist you with creating a budget. Or let's say, credit repair, they can also help you repair credit that you may need help with. Or also, if you wanted to seek help with debt management, they can also provide that service as well. Earlier on in the presentation, we focused a lot on savings and strategies to save. Well, LAPFCU has some present promotions that we'd like to share with you guys to help you, support those savings goals. One of those ways is we currently have a CD right now that's for 10 months paying 4.5%. And we also have a money market, like Colleen mentioned earlier, that's paying 1.75%. These rates, haven't seen deposit rates like this in a long, long time. So if you are looking to save, or if you have your money parked in a savings account, like Colleen mentioned earlier on in the presentation, why not explore these options and make your money work harder for you to gain dividends, just like we're paying out to our members. Make your money work harder for you, and you can access more information on our website, and there's a full array of details as far as minimum deposits and so forth. But the nice thing is, with that CD mentioned earlier, earning the 4.5%, there's no minimums to open it, and there's no maximum deposit balances that we've specified on that particular CD. So now what we'd like to do to wrap it up, we have about 3 minutes left. We'd like to turn it over and facilitate some Q&A. So we would like to answer some questions that you may have put in the question box. But before we do go, Colleen and I would like to thank you all for joining us today. And we hope that the information that we have shared with you guys tonight has helped you guys in some way, shape or form to achieve your financial goals, because that's what we're here for, and that's what we're committed to helping our members. So Colleen, you want to help me with the poll here? With the questions. Let's see. Okay. I believe you're on mute, Colleen.
Oh, and you didn't hear me tell you guys. I wanted to thank you guys very much for being here too, because I really love LAPFCU and I love you guys very much. And I really wanted to thank you very much for attending, and make sure you download that handout for sure. If you have questions, please shoot them in the question box. So I do see one from Gina saying, if you close your credit cards, does it hurt your credit? It depends, Gina. Your best bet is to call 888-456-2227 and speak to a financial advisor for free and confidential too, by the way. The reason I say that is because it depends on the credit card you're closing. If you're closing your longest credit card, it's definitely going to hurt your credit score because part of a credit score is longevity, how long you've had credit. So you don't want to close something that you've had for a long, long time. So you want to really kind of weigh on, is this the best option for me to close that credit card? The other thing is when you're looking at your credit, and I know this isn't a credit presentation, but when you're looking at your credit, how much debt you have is also going to affect your credit score. So if you have a $2,000 credit card that you're closing, you're losing that $2,000 difference because you only want to use 30% of whatever your credit cards are in order to have your credit score be higher. So if you close that $2,000, that could eventually hurt your credit score if you have other debt that's up there high. So it just depends. So definitely I want to look at that. So next question, does having a balance every month on a credit card ruin your credit score? Again, that depends. Carrying something on your credit score or on your credit cards is fine. You just want to add up all of your limits that you have. What is the limit on all of your credit cards? Divide that and get the 30% that you have, and you want to stay below that 30%. Obviously, having a zero owing on credit cards, using and paying is going to be the best avenue for you. Next question. I can't access the forms. Where can I get them? Okay, so the form is, if you look at your at the little bar that you have for the webcam, there should be a little box right there that says handouts. If you can't see it, Natalie will have it so we could actually forward that on to you. So if you don't see it, just let us know. Hey, I couldn't download it. As long as it's in the question box, we will make sure that all of those people that couldn't download it will get it. Okay. Is it good to have a credit card with monthly fees? I personally don't like monthly fees. What do you think, Natalie? You like monthly fees?
No. Well, depends on the perks associated with those monthly fees.
Mm-hmm.
At LAPFCU, our credit cards don't have monthly fees.
Yep, that's right. You guys don't have monthly fees. That's where I would go. Okay, so the ones that say I can't download, I'm going to make sure you get that. How much do I need to start a money market account? That I think would be on you, Natalie. Do you know?
Great
on
question.
Your side?
Yeah, great question. Typically $2,500 to get started with the money market. However, the one that we have presently paying the 1.75%, the minimum deposit to establish that one is $10,000.
Great. So again, a goal, put it in a savings account, build up to that for your emergency savings account, and then put that in that money market. Okay. A few more couldn't download. I'm so sorry. Next question. Is it better to pay off the credit card balances with lower amounts or pay the credit cards with the biggest balance? Okay. This one, I love this question, and I really wish we were doing the credit one right now, but I always say the biggest balance. The highest interest rate. So whatever your highest interest rate one is, you want to get that one paid off first, okay? And then take whatever you are paying to that one and put that over to the next one with the next highest interest rate. Why? Because if you're paying off the one with the highest balance first, yeah, that's a great thing to get that achieved. But if it's not the highest interest rate, you actually end up paying more over the long run. Even though you may have a lower interest rate a higher interest rate on a lower balance, yeah, it takes longer, and you're going to find that you're actually paying off more. So try the highest interest rate one first, whatever balance that is, that's what you're going to pay off first, and then move yourself down. Now, some people say, if you got a little teeny weeny one like $1,000, get it paid off just to feel good, okay, and then move on to doing the highest interest rate, just so you know you're on track with it. But that's a really good question, Jeanette. Thank you for sharing that. I know we are at time. Natalie, do you have a couple more minutes to ask a couple more questions?
I'll hang tight, sure.
Okay. I would like, but before we do, I want to thank you guys and thank LAPFCU for bringing us here. So I really appreciate it. Balance is definitely here to assist. We are the Robin to LAPFCU's Batman. So I always like to say that. Okay. I would like the paperwork. Okay. No download. If there's a penalty, if I take money out of the balance, goes less than the minimum amount. Okay, this is on the money market again. If they take out money on the money market and it goes below that balance, are they going to be penalized?
On the money market or the CD?
Right. So on the money market.
The money market, you have access to it, like you can withdraw it, you can deposit to it, you can withdraw from it. It's just $2,500 to establish an opening balance with the money market. Now, on our CD, the one that I specified, the 10-month at 4.5%, there are some penalties for early withdrawals, but it won't be life-shattering. However, the whole product is designed for you to not touch the funds.
Okay, we got two more questions we will answer, and then we're going to close it out. When starting a savings account, which is the best of the four to start with? Okay. I always say retirement because I believe in retirement, okay? But I would always say your goals are just as important as your retirement is. So those two. Periodic should be because you've got your budget, you're going to be able to do the periodic. So I definitely just would open a basic savings account and put everything in it at first and then move on, but always have that retirement account, please. That is such an important thing to look at, okay? I believe in retirement. And yes, go ahead, Natalie, what do you say?
I would also like to mention that for members, you can also open sub-accounts within your entire membership, and you can actually nickname those accounts for those specific goals, as Colleen mentioned: emergency fund, day-to-day spending, vacation. I have one personally for my dog in case she has any vet bills that arise. So then that way I don't touch my day-to-day, or my retirement account I specifically put away for her veterinary needs. And once a year when we go to do her teeth cleaning, I draw the money from that account and good to go.
I actually have one for my chinchilla because she needs to get her teeth ground every 4 months. So it's a good one. Okay, this is a great question for you, Natalie. Does LAPFCU have any accounts that can draw directly from my LA City PD paycheck?
All our accounts can draw directly from your LAPD paycheck. So great question. Yes.
Very, very good question. And, you can always go to your HR department and have some go to your savings and some go to your checking. That's always something you can also do.
Yeah.
So
all you would need is your routing number and your member number, and then that should suffice.
Very good. Thank you so much. And so I'll let you close us out then, Natalie.
All right. Well, a lot of great questions. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate your time this evening. A recording, like we mentioned earlier, will be provided tomorrow. And if you have any questions, concerns, feel free to contact us. If you have any questions regarding the products, any of the products we mentioned, or the loan options, feel free to contact us after this evening. But thank you for your time, and have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Good night.